Welcome parents to Virtual Parent Night. My name is Mr. Ashline and I am your student's Design and Drawing for Engineering teacher. One of the first things I really want to just discuss with you guys is how to contact me. So the best way to contact me is by email. My email is brian.ashline@nccsk12.org. If you'd like to talk on the phone, please email me first with your preferred phone number and request a call. I'm almost never in front of my office phone, especially this year. So that's the easiest way to get into that telephone call. So the main point to to design and drawing for engineering is to teach students how to communicate their ideas in a graphic form, aka drawings in CAD. Doesn't really matter what type of a technical field students might be interested in going into. Technical drawings are always kind of like at the core of its requirements, which is also why DDE is the fundamental course for all of our sequences here at the high school, because it really doesn't matter if you're going to be a contractor, an engineer, or a designer. You need to be able to learn how to read drawings, and you need to know how to be able to create drawings to clearly communicate what the project or what your idea is. All right, so that's our main goal within this course. We're also going to use those skills for developing solutions to engineering activities even this year. So we have 6 basic units to this course. Our first unit is what we're working on right now, which is sketching. Our second unit is the introduction to the design process, where we learn how to use the design process to inform our design decisions moving forward to come up with the best solutions to a problem. Then we move into technical drawing, which usually technical drawing would be done with boards, T-squares, triangles. Maybe some of you are familiar with those types of tools. This year, due to COVID restrictions, we are simply going to be using graph paper and rulers to be able to simulate that learning experience that we would typically be doing on a board. All students have class materials that have been passed out to them, including their own ruler, including their own marker, colored pencils, and a clipboard. So we're also in class going to have students that they're going to have their own individual pair of scissors that they're going to be able to make models with. And at home, students can just use a pair of scissors that they have. From there, we're going to move on to the principles and elements of design, then into 3D solid modeling. Most years we would be using Inventor for this. This year, though, we're going to be using Onshape, which is a completely online 3D modeling software that is still a professional quality, but students can use the software on any platform that has a web browser, whether it's a Mac, a Chromebook, a PC, it could even be a telephone. So that is a really powerful aspect for this remote learning situation that we're in. And then finally, Unit 6, we go back to the design process for one final large project that will encompass everything that we've learned throughout the year for that one final project. And then we also have an unofficial Unit 7, which is our review unit, which we do have a final exam for this class, so we'll review for that exam before it happens. Course assessment, 50% of the student's grade is based upon class assignments. 30% is based on unit projects, so big projects that we put at the end of each of those 6 units, and then 20% will be based upon unit exams. All unit exams are given in Google Classroom and Google Forms, and students will be able to take those exams either from home or in school, depending on their situation. For required materials for this year, students are required to have a spiral graph paper notebook preferably, or they can have a 3-ring binder with graph paper that has been 3-hole punched inserted into it. Again, graph paper is going to be used a lot, especially in our technical drawing aspect and for a lot of sketching as we move forward. We are looking for 1/4 inch graph paper like boxes. So either 4 squares per inch or 1/4 inch, they both mean the same thing depending on what you look at. This is an example of the notebook. It's not what you have to buy by any means, but if you're still haven't bought a book for your kids, what we're really looking for again is that the sheets measure 11 by 8.5 inches and that there are 4 squares per inch. Okay, so this is a good example of a notebook. The spiral is nice because they can tear the pages out easily. And then they also need a pencil and school supplied materials, which I've already mentioned to you what the school supplied materials are. They need to bring all of these materials with them to school every day, except for the clipboard. So late work policy. With digital submissions of work coming in, it's really difficult to keep up with students who are turning work in late. So I am really being strict on late work this year. So work turned in late will be marked off 10% for the first week and 20% for the second week, and it will not be accepted after 2 weeks. If I put an assignment out that like I truly expect can be completed within the class, particularly if I am out, perhaps like and I leave sub plans, or just like a week ago, I gave the students 4 paragraphs to read and 4 questions to answer at the end of it. Some of them chose not even to open that assignment during that class time. I gave the whole class to be able to do that. Work that's expected to be completed within that time, I will not accept late. Okay, so if students decide to not be on task while they're at home when they should be working on that class assignment, they will just receive a 0 for the assignment. So it's really important that I expect students will be on task even when home. Any work that is turned in late on Google Classroom must be accompanied by an email and a request to be graded. Once again, keeping track of students turning in work late is just really difficult to do. So the more that they inform me that they've turned in their work, the more prompt I'm able to grade it and get that returned to them and get their grades updated. Google Classroom and Infinite Campus. So all work is assigned and collected in Google Classroom. For DDE, because most of the work that we're going to be submitting is actually drawings, students are going to be using a phone app that is called Adobe Scan. And again, it's a phone app, Adobe Scan. So, or they could use a scanner if they have one to submit their work. If students do not have access to a phone or do not have access to a scanner, then they can use the camera on their computer. But Adobe Scan makes things a lot easier for them to submit work and for me to like see their work and grade their work. Talking about grading their work, I am regularly transferring grades into IC, and I will continue to do that throughout this year. Again, due to my late work policy, it's really important that students and parents keep a close eye on Infinite Campus to help keep them up to date in class and to make sure that their grade is as good as it should be. So when we go to look at Gradebook, so here's my Google Classroom, just so that everybody's kind of aware of what this thing is going to look like. First, we have the stream. Usually I don't put any information on the stream. If I'm absent for the day because I'm sick or something like that, I might put a quick little note saying like, I'm out, check out assignment, whatever for the day. But most of the time, students are just going to come straight to the classwork tab. And I set all my classes up the same way in Google Classroom. The first thing I set up is Unit 0. It all starts here. And as that unit implies, everything begins at this point right here. So the first thing, 0.1, notice all my assignments are labeled with the number point something. Okay, so because this is Unit 0, the first number is a 0, and then 0.1 means that it's like the first thing in the list. Most of my lists I build upside down, actually, but we'll get to that in a second here. So on my Zoom meeting link, so if we open this up, we can find the Zoom meeting. Below that, I have the class syllabus. If you're interested in more information on this course, ask your students to pull up the class syllabus here in 0.2. And then we also have instructions for the Adobe Scan app, which I just explained to you. So if your students are having a hard time with the Adobe Scan app, I do go step by step through this in this slideshow. So as we look at this, and again, I'm not going to run through this whole presentation here, but this is just like a list of instructions that I've created for students to go through and take their pictures and, from how to rotate their image, which I do take off 10% if they don't rotate their image upright, or I'm sorry, 5%, that's 5%, 10% late, 5% if it's not rotated, to how to auto or change their color so that it comes out better, to renaming it, to how to upload it, share it, where to save it, how to attach it to the classroom, and then to turn it in. Okay, so all of those instructions are written right there. So whenever a student is like, man, I can't remember how to do this process, it's always in that same spot for them. Then we have the latest unit that we're working on. So at this point, my lists are inverted. At the bottom of the list, it goes from the oldest up to the latest, which the latest at this exact moment is 1.7 lettering for period 1 right now. You can also see like what I've scheduled to come up later on my screen. Students wouldn't see that. But this is going to go backwards. When you look at Infinite Campus, you will see numbers like 1.7 or 1.6 associated with the assignments. That is referencing back to Google Classroom and that specific assignment that I've assigned. And again, the first number is the unit number. The second number is going to be like what order that came in. The latest thing is always going to be on top. Once I get into Unit 2, Intro to the Design Process, I will move that up above the sketching unit, but below Unit 0. So students should always basically be able to see Unit 0 at the top of their screen, and then what we're working on today at just below it. All right. They also can see due dates in their Google calendars. My Google Calendar is kind of a mess because it has all of my Zoom meetings in it, but this should include like their due dates for different assignments going through. I also sometimes will set different due dates for different sections. So let me show you an example of that. Expo marker is a good example. The North group has a major advantage over South group. They're off the day after my lesson. So they can use that time to work on whatever they haven't finished yet. Where the South group doesn't have that option because they're in class for that second day when I'm giving the lesson. So typically speaking, if I have something due after in-class time, the North group is going to have a due date that is earlier than the South group. And that's just to give the South group the amount of time necessary to be able to complete it on time. I base whether things are late or not late based upon this information, not always what's posted up top here. So students do need to pay close attention to, if they're in the North group in particular, their stuff is going to be due a little bit earlier, which I always point out to them as well. So going back to the presentation here, that's the last slide that I have for today. I've kind of gone a few minutes over my 10 minutes here, so I apologize for that. Once again, if you have any questions, please email me, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night or morning whenever you happen to be watching this video. Have a great night. Bye-bye.